doesn't deserve any credit for this case. She had nothing to do with it.
She's dead. She brought it back up.
So are our victims, and you don't think they're pretty enough. It's a surprise, bitch.
A complete secret. So I'm going to hand you off to
See
our
what these are?
Secret hands. Is that what they are?
They're called spirit fingers.
Oh, that's true.
They encompass both ghosts, and they hold my spirits.
Oh, that was
tonight's
clever. Did
episode.
you plan that? That was good.
Unofficially sponsored by Jamie's hometown, Green River Whiskey Distilling.
I don't think that's from my from my hometown.
No, they're out of Kentucky. It's out of Kentucky.
Town. That's closer to where I live now, though. So, all right. Well, my unofficial sponsor tonight is Maker's Mark, also from Kentucky.
Just regular Maker's Mark?
Yeah, dude. Regular
Times
Makers, not the 46. And then we have a collab beer from Burial Brewing Company out of Asheville, North Carolina, and True Brewery out of Denver, Colorado. The two most metal breweries in all of my thoughts, because that's the only two I really know of and can think of.
I love to see that. I love to hear that. I'm also going to be partially sponsored tonight by Body Armor. Stay safe out there.
I've never had one.
Don't let your thirst murder you. Drink Body Armor. And no, it's actually just tap water, but it's in this big ass bottle, which is quite nice.
Reuse. Greener world.
Reduce, recycle.
Reuse your plastic. All right.
Yeah, Green River.
What's going on? Let's figure this out.
All right.
Where are we going from here, Pete?
I think the first thing we need to just welcome everybody to the show. I know you kind of already said who we are and stuff like that, but we really need to let everyone know this is our first episode. We're happy for anyone that's just joining us.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Welcome to listening. A totally drunk show where we talk about murders and ghosts and scary things. I don't know. We're just here to have fun. A couple dudes being guys talking about murders and ghosts, and definitely cults and demons.
So are you gonna tell me what's on the agenda for tonight? Or am I just gonna sit here in the
Yeah.
I'm gonna say dark, but it's kind of light.
We're gonna first start off with just a little bit of talking, scary things have been happening for us, scary movies we're excited about, scary things.
What happened to you that was scary, Pete?
I don't know. I'm just waiting for you to tell me about the ghosts that live inside your home.
Are
they racist?
I don't know their names. I don't know. They might be. It was from 1910. I'm pretty sure one of the ghosts is Avery's dad. I said it quiet because I know he's listening.
He's just with you?
He watches over Avery at all times. He told Avery's mom that. That's pretty cool. He said he had shitty tattoos, though. That's cool.
Yeah, and I was really mean about that the last time we talked about this. I don't think you have shitty tattoos. I think you have one shitty tattoo.
Which one?
The burger one. It's the burger one, for sure.
Did I ever tell you?
And that's not your fault, and it's not your friend's fault that tattooed you. It was a combination of drunk and demonic.
Something like that, for sure. Did I tell you about when I first met?
What does he
Avery's
say? What's the
mom?
cheeseburger little thing? What's the quote bubble say?
I want to be inside you.
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah.
So Avery's mom saw it, and you could just tell the way that she looked at me that she hated my tattoo. She's like, "What is that cheeseburger trying to say?" And instead of telling her, I was like, "Oh, I don't even remember. I was just so drunk." And then for Christmas, she got me.
And that's a better response. That's a better response to saying you don't even remember than telling her that it says, "I want to be inside you."
Yeah, kids will be kids,
Yep. So she got you something for Christmas?
Well, she got me beer and burger socks. So I feel like
so you
She
can cover
gets
up
me.
your fucking burger tattoo.
exactly.
Are they tall socks?
They are tall socks. So I guess I could talk about what was spooking me this week, or what I did spookily, or what happened was I followed the Murtaugh trial because it's super close to where I live now in Asheville.
Yep.
And they just announced it like 3 days ago was the new judge ruling, because they tried to ask for a retrial because they said that one of the jurors was planning the whole time to write a book, and if he went to jail, he would get, or this person would get better book rights if they did.
Yeah, they're gonna they're gonna have
if Alec
sales
went
out the
to
fucking
jail. Yeah. But
that's crazy. I don't know like a whole lot on the story. Can you like go through a little bit of what you know? Like, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like I remember it starts with like this kid that died on a boat, and then there's a guy that tries to maybe murder or suicide himself. I don't really know.
Yeah, so I just rewatched both seasons after watching the trial live. We watched it at work.
Love it.
Had the sound on at the airport, or not the airport.
Way to be prepared for
bar
something that we didn't prepare for, dude. I love this.
Yeah. So, well, I was interested. I'm like, all right, I kind of remember.
Yeah.
So, drunk rich teenagers from South Carolina decided they were going to go party, and they took his dad's boat, got hammered, refused to let anyone else drive, and he wrecked the boat into a pillar or into the bridge, and a girl flew off and died, and they didn't find her for like 4 or 5 more days. And then
days?
Yeah, it took them days.
How many people do you know how many people were on this boat?
Like 6.
6
and
people
like
didn't realize that one of their friends was just gone and floating in the water?
No, they knew right away, but they couldn't find her. She ended up like having blood force trauma and completely sinking, like, because she was dead right away and just went straight down. A few people had injuries.
Do bodies do that? I guess I don't know enough. We'll have to invite
I don't know the exacts, but that's what happened.
Autopsy technician on this. That's crazy. That I thought all bodies just floated.
No, or else they would have fucking found. You know how many bodies they would find in Lake Powell? They just found like 400 of them because it like started like lowering so much. They found it from like
they
back in, like,
what?
They found a shit ton of bodies.
They found 400 bodies in Lake Powell?
They found a shit ton. Whatever.
It's a lot.
Is it Lake Powell, the one that's close to Vegas? Like where all the mobsters would dump the bodies? Or is that Havasu? It's Lake Powell.
Well, both. But
yeah,
Havasu is more like Arizona. Utah is Powell.
I don't. Yeah, so whatever dam or lake that they have up there where all the mobsters would dump bodies in 1950s Vegas, since it started
this makes more
so
sense
much,
now. Okay,
they found a shit ton of bodies, but that gets to the point where they
climate change, my man.
Yeah, they didn't find this girl. She was 18. They didn't find her body for a couple of days. Fast forward, I'll get you to it. Like,
did they put like? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay. We can have a whole episode later about it if you want to. But
yeah, I would. I think that's a good call.
So for a couple years later, I don't remember exactly, the kid that drove the boat and his mom got murdered at their house. And then they thought it was like someone trying to get back on this kid for murdering this girl. But it ended up being the dad.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes.
Wait, it ended up being the dad?
Yeah.
So he like killed his child and his wife.
Yes. And they say it's speculation.
But what about, isn't there something along like the side of the road that he like tried to get murdered too or something?
He said that there's 2 things from the side of the road. He said he got shot on the side of the road by someone, but it was actually his friend.
In the head.
His friend shot a like a gun up in the air and like it ricocheted or something and like put blood specks on him. But he called and like told the police that someone shot him. When all actuality, he went to his friend and was like, "Kill me," because he knew he was going to go to jail for this murder because he knew
for murdering his wife and child.
But then he tried to like pin that shot on him. And then there was also like 2 years before these kids were murdered, they found a kid dead in the middle of the road, which was the brother that got murdered and drove the boats. His brother's secret lover apparently ended up getting murdered. And so they think Alec also did that. That's all the murders that happened.
And Alec is the one that murdered his wife and kid.
So fast forward to present time, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
He asked for the new trial, and the judge was like, no. So he's still in jail forever. So that's
Good on that juror, dude. They're going to make so much fucking money.
Yeah.
We should get them on the podcast.
We should
good on the judge, but good for the juror, dude. Like
we should just
seize those opportunities, man.
Down our belts before we're trying to ask.
Hey, man, I'm already getting guests.
Right? You don't
always
know if
thinking
you don't
ahead.
Try.
Exactly.
Hello. I got cancer, and I want you to come on my show. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm just a drunk asshole that lied to get you
shouldn't. We should not lead with that, but we should lead with we're a really popular true crime. And what are we? We're not a true crime show.
We're murder.
Are we?
No, I would just say we're all things horror and demonic. We just talk about.
I was thinking
things that are fucked up.
We could name our show. It was a
murder. ...
And we could do murder, or we could do demon. We could do cult. We could do movie.
I think we could just say that in the show. I think we just keep drunk and demonic. People are like a drunk and demonic because that's like what we do. So.
5 people like drunk and demonic. 4 people because you and I don't count.
One of them is Sunpies Bistro, the best dive bar in all of Yampa Street.
Avery doesn't count either, so we're down to 3 people. We have Lisa. Shout out to Lisa. Thanks for being the first follower.
That's all I know.
Sunpies and then Sean McFarland, first followers, dude. He's getting mentioned. Big
They're
ups.
excited about it. They either that or they saw us in dresses. And
like, subscribe. Yeah, they probably saw us.
These guys were into each other a little bit.
Yep, I'm gonna listen to these guys talk about gay sex.
What else is going on? Did you do anything spooky?
Nothing particularly spooky. Closing restaurants alone is always spooky.
We're not at the other restaurant's haunted, but yeah, yours isn't.
I don't know, dude. This it could be haunted. I don't think there's anything that's really happened. Aurelia said that like periodic table was haunted. Correct? Was that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that there's like really grumpy, angry white people that have died in that place. But also, for sure, at table 79,
most people live in the spirit plane that has a different wavelength than us, and so there are millions of people living among us, above us, according.
Dog, you started watching those demons and alcohol videos, didn't you?
No, I went to Casadega. And they taught me.
What is Casadega? Tell me about this.
It's a spiritual camp in Florida. Spiritualism is considered religion.
A spiritual camp?
Yeah, it's like where people move to become mediums and psychics.
No, that's Sedona.
Sedona is a vortex of
Crestone.
Of kinetic energy, not for smoke. You can't just say shit. It is funny though. So nothing's spooky.
No, but guaranteed, you for sure, there's lots of people that are in Sedona that are like, you can't tell me that like Sedona is not a hotbed for people that are dealing in energy work. Or
there are lots of mediums.
Let's
there.
call them, Is multiverse? Can we clip this? Is multiverse copyrighted? I don't know if it is or not. Can we say multiverse?
Everyone does the multiverse.
Multiple dimensions. Let's just go with that. There's definitely some dimension collisions going on in Crestone and Sedona.
I thought it was just like a different energy field. We'll have to look more into that.
The veil is thin, dude.
The what?
The veil between realities is thin. No, not I'm not saying le veil. I'm saying the veil. The veil between realities.
What does this have to do with the sea, Peter?
In these places.
Where's Leviathan at? Okay.
No. This is... Well, I would say that like water is a pretty solid transfer of energy source. So if we really want to talk about it, yes, anywhere that like you have water involved, you're probably going to transfer energy pretty easily because it's a hell of a conductor.
Okay, yeah. So nothing else spooky came to you other than you got a little spooked out being by yourself. Like,
yeah, it's scary though, man. When everyone leaves, why is everyone I'm just there by myself.
Why are you the last?
Because they're done with work and they don't want to stay and hang out with me.
Well, why? Is it something you said?
I'm F and G, dude. I'm the fucking new guy. No one wants to sit around and fucking bullshit with me. Yeah, I've only been there like a month.
No, you've been there longer than a month.
It's a little longer than that, but who's counting?
I've been at my place, the place I work at. I've been at for 2 months, and I'm pretty sure you started when I left Steamboat in November. So, right? That's 2 months.
No, it's December.
Okay.
Early December. So, right at that 2 month threshold.
You're almost there.
But either way, we're both fancy bartenders. You got any cool pins?
Yeah, I got 3. I have an 86.
What do they say?
Pen. I have a Cocktails and Critter pen.
With the gravestone.
Yeah, and then I have the Scotch.
The cocktails are Critter?
Yeah, it's a Hammerhead, Shark, and a Cosmo.
Oh, dope.
And I'm the only one that likes it.
Oh. Well, I also somehow ended up with a Scotch Nest Monster pin. My super good bartender friend, Rachel, that I work with, gave me hers.
Oh, you just said that you didn't have any friends. Plot thickens.
It does.
I think we should talk about some murders. You should tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know why. I said we weren't going to do this.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So what did you watch?
Are we ready for the main event?
I'm not. I want to talk about scary movies.
You know what?
I want to talk about True Detective in all actuality.
So
did you watch it?
I've been on a found True Detective. I watched the first episode. I'm planning on watching the other 2 soon.
So you've just seen
maybe one tonight.
2 of them? You've seen 2?
No, just one.
3 or you've seen just the one. That's the good one.
There's 3 episodes that have been released. I've seen one so far. It's crazy.
I told you I was going to ruin it for you, so let's talk about it.
No. We're not going to do it.
Crazy what happened at the end of the 3rd episode?
I don't remember.
When
I was blackout drunk. I don't remember.
There were dead.
It was a murder. Or maybe not. I guess I don't even know. There's no murders yet. I just see people that aren't there.
Oh. What else? I watched Talk to Me.
No, that sounds like very Sixth Sense. Yeah. How was that? I've heard only the best things about it, so I'd like to hear an honest review.
Personally, I think it was shot really well. I thought it was very clever. I think I hyped it up too much in my brain, where I thought it was going to be the best thing. I feel like it was like a Hereditary thing for me, where I was like, "This is going to be the game changer." But it was super entertaining.
Oh, did you do that with Hereditary?
I did. I thought it was going to be amazing.
Oh. I don't know. I think for whatever reason, I think I've seen so many bad horror movies that I just expect most horror movies to be bad. And when they aren't bad, I love it. So I'm never disappointed by a horror movie. Because my expectations pretty much come from the ground. I remember JD and I watched Thanksgiving. And the only reason we even watched it is because they're the sticking point that was on it was maybe Netflix or Hulu, I can't remember. It was like, there's tits in the first 4 minutes of this movie.
That's what they
and
said.
that's was like, hey, that's a great reason to watch that movie.
It is. They know who they're going for.
They know their demographic, and that's like, so I am maybe a little different than you, but like I love anything that's not really, really bad horror. And even bad horror, I'm still a good fan of, because
like,
just in my book, horror can do no
I
wrong.
thought that was awesome. What about
Thanksgiving was phenomenal.
Did you watch Five Nights at Freddy's?
I did not actually watch Five Nights at Freddy's because Damien won't watch it again because he got a little scared.
Yeah, I could see where that was scary for a 9-year-old for sure.
And so, I don't really have a reason to watch it if he doesn't want to watch it.
That's true. It's the same.
So eventually, I don't know. Game. Give me a year or two, and
there's gonna be a second.
Yeah, we don't let him play that.
There's gonna be a haunted house at Universal Studios at Horror Nights for.
Oh, really?
They haven't announced it.
Good for them. I mean,
I bet they will.
It was actually really cool. I feel like
a Universal movie.
Yeah, I was trying to get him more into reading, and they had a Five Nights at Freddy anthology where it was a couple stories that were Five Nights at Freddy's based. So we read that, and that was really good. But the show itself, the movie, seemed pretty good. I just I'll probably watch it at some point, but he didn't want to watch it again, so I'm I'm not gonna watch that without him. I'll just wait till he wants to watch it.
Well, I think it's their fault for
anyone that doesn't know, he's 9.
Yeah, I think they're making these horror movies PG-13, making it to where more accessible for children. So that movie is PG-13.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I heard it was pretty fucking scary. So Megan was PG-13.
Yeah,
that's just a robot trying to bang a dude for the whole fucking show, right?
I'm guessing you've never seen that. That's the wrong.
No,
movie.
I watched it. No, it's definitely a little girl that she
Yeah, you downloaded the wrong clip on Pornhub, but
must be.
What do you?
No, now I think about it.
Algorithm.
Yeah, dude, Megan, the movie.
Yeah, you did watch it. Well, they also came out with a rated R version when it was streamed.
Well, I just here's a little segue. So in Megan, I know that Jennifer Carpenter, isn't she the main character, right?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know actors' names.
Can I look it up? Give me 2 seconds.
Nice. You can probably use your computer too. You won't go away on the screen.
Oh no! If I touch the computer, the whole thing rattles. So I'm trying not to touch the computer.
Your whole computer rattles?
Yeah, it's on these tiny little tables. You'll laugh when you see it.
Oh, good. Like a lol, like an out loud laugh. What should I talk about when you're looking this up? This is taking a very long time, sir. For something that doesn't matter.
This is not even the right movie. Man.
Are you thinking about Jennifer Connelly? That was in Chucky 3. Or Bride of Chucky.
She was in Chucky 3?
Jennifer Connelly? She was the
I didn't
lady.
even know that.
She was the Bride of Chucky.
Huh.
All right.
She was also in Labyrinth and lots of other movies.
Was she? No, I don't think you know who we're talking about.
Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly is not the main character of Labyrinth.
She's
Jennifer Connelly's the big titty, nasally lady.
The big titty nasally lady?
Yeah.
No. You're thinking of Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, I am. Damn it.
From American Pie.
Is it?
No. Yes, and Legally Blonde.
Is it? I don't know if she's
Yes.
I can't-
No. Oh my god. Jennifer Connelly is like Requiem for a Dream.
Is that so?
And, I
Let's
mean,
find
like
out.
way long ago, Labyrinth.
Yeah, she
My god, that was fucking hilarious.
I was definitely the wrong actress I was talking about.
You're
She was in
thinking
a
of
lot good
Jennifer
things.
Coolidge.
Am I?
She's
Bride
phenomenal.
of Chucky.
I'm
Bride of Chucky.
not going to get into it.
Yeah, we should probably talk about the main event soon. We got a lot of things. You didn't watch anything. We found out you watched one episode. I watched Talk to Me.
No, I was going to segue.
Okay.
So I've been on a found footage kick, obviously. We'll get
Jennifer
into that
Tilly.
later.
It was Jennifer Tilly, not
Who?
Jennifer Tilly.
Who the fuck is
Was in the-
Jennifer Tilly?
She was the Bride of Chucky, though.
What else was she in? Name one other
She was
thing.
Eastbound and Down. She was like the main squeeze on Eastbound and Down.
Okay.
Dang, dude. Katherine Heigl was also in The Bride of Chucky. John Ritter, what a...
You know what is
This movie.
dope is like Jennifer Aniston's first breakout role, Leprechaun.
Yeah, it was Leprechaun. Or it's like Johnny Depp's first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare. Horror, dude. Just giving people lives.
Horrors.
Taking lives, giving lives. All right. You ready for the main event?
I'm ready for this main event. Sock it to me, brother.
I didn't even get to tell you what I was trying to do.
Okay. Let's hear
I
it
watched
then.
Quarantine and it was phenomenal.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
Like the
Have
early
you seen it?
2000s. Not in a long time.
It's found
the new-
footage.
Oh. I always thought it was like World War Z. So it's found footage.
It's kind of like that, but the main thing is like there's a camera guy and then a news anchor, and they're following this fire department, and the fire department gets called to this apartment building where this lady's kind of freaking out a little bit, and then all hell breaks loose. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. Are we doing spoilers? I can't remember if we're doing spoilers or not.
For Quarantine, you don't have to tell me like the ending or anything. You can just sounds entertaining. I should probably watch it. How old is this movie?
It's a rabies. It's a rabies thing.
It's a rabies thing. What does that mean?
No, that everyone just has rabies.
I told you.
And
not to
they're like
spoil
trapped
it.
inside the building.
I'm like, don't.
All right,
don't
well, clip
spoil
it.
the movie. You're
Clip
like,
it.
okay,
Take it out.
okay. Well, it doesn't change the fact that you spoiled
Take it
the
out. We don't
movie
want
for
to spoil it. What do you mean it's a rabies thing? How else would
I
you
just-
like me to describe that other than people have rabies?
Oh, I think you should be like, oh, it's a movie where people are like zombie-esque.
It's like
and
rapid.
They
It's like rapid
Yeah.
rabies.
Something's
It's kind of
happening.
like that. Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Are you okay? Are you sneezing?
Alrighty.
Are you a
No,
sneezy boy?
coffee,
How's
though.
your whiskey? How's your whiskey? Coffee? Are you sleepy?
It's no like coughing. Like I'm cough.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I don't drink coffee.
you're
Which
a
is
coff-
just
you're a
it's weird
coughing
that I don't drink coffee.
boy.
I know I don't drink coffee. It's weird for people because I'm such a high energy dude.
It happens, dude. You're high on life. Cold plunges.
I remember. Yep, that's what I've decided that I'm gonna spend my life just doing cold plunges. Not really cold plunges. I just decided to spend like 5 minutes in the shower, cold as fuck.
Nice. I like to do cold plunges that way.
makes-
I have an excuse for why my wiener's so small. I can
Yeah,
be like,
for sure.
oh yeah, I was just in a
Sorry,
cold
just got
plunge.
done cold plunging.
I was just cold plunging. Sir, you've been at work for 4 hours. Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah, I know. It's
I
I
got a
Don't worry
a
about
little
it.
tiny cold plunge in my pants right now. I just constantly wet my wiener.
literally
for it.
soak my dick in ice. It's a cold plunge.
It gets you a better
think-
tea, dude.
If
get
you
better
think like
testosterone if
you will
sit there and
literally
throw
you
water on your dick.
boost tea through the fucking roof. If you like literally just soak your dick and balls in ice water, it's literally better than your whole body because
think
then
if,
your whole
like-
body like
I just think if you're bartending and like with another bartender, and they're like, "Go to make a drink." You're like, "Oh no, that one's for my balls." That ass I dunk my balls in to cold plunge.
Oh no, don't use that one.
Don't use that for a drink, sir. That is for my balls.
I'm just waiting for us to get invited to like Huberman Lab so that we can really discuss our whole theory on icing our balls. Because when your whole body has to react to it, it actually takes away from the dick and the mind have such a instant reaction to each other that you don't actually have to deal with the blood or any of the neurons that actually deal with what happens in cold plunging. You go straight to the source, which is your dick and balls, and it connects immediately to your brain.
I don't think we're gonna get invited on there because his like big thing is about how he thinks people that drink are bad news. So I think he would just be
but he'd like to interview us, maybe for a study.
No, he'd make us look like idiots. Like you were
we're definitely but we are idiots, so like that's totally fine. I have no problem going on there and being an idiot.
Me neither.
He just has the thing where he's like, oh, people that like drink and like feel better about it, like they're like 5 to 10% of the population that like get a dopamine boost from drinking instead of like a dopamine decrease. And it's like, oh, I don't think he's talking about me at all.
No, probably not.
I'm just kidding. That's definitely who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
I get all fired up. So, welcome again to the show.
Yeah, I'm leaving all this
main event.
It's all great shit.
All right. Yeah, no, this is fantastic, guys. So tonight we're going to cover the murders of Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer and Annette Schnee. Being that it's an inaugural episode, I figured we'd do something that's a little bit close to home for me. You can always relate a little bit closer to these stories when you know the places they take place and you know the areas and have been through the roads and the different bars and different towns that these things have happened in. Mm-hmm. So tonight's story take place in Breckenridge, Colorado. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I am, in 1982. So I think we'll just jump right into it. That's crazy to think.
It's crazy to think because
I just assumed that you were just old enough to remember everything.
Yeah, I remember this entire story from when I watched it on the news. And so I'm eager to see if you do this any different than how they did it back in Breckenridge CC 9917 Channel 9. So let's hear. Big critiques coming in. So my boy Pete Tarnett. It's weird that his name was Pete and your name is Pete, but he was the newscaster there.
That's crazy. What a coincidence.
Funny world we're living in.
Alrighty. So this case is also known as the Orange Sock Killings or the Rocky Mountain Murders. It all starts on the night of January 6th, 1982. Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer calls her husband Jeff at 6:30 p.m. To inform him of a few things. One, she has just received a promotion from secretary to office manager at a development firm. So we all love those sweet, awesome development firms taking place in the mountain towns. Super.
I thought you were going to say promotion.
We do love promotions. We don't love development firms. I don't know if that's just me. No, it's why I'm like not going to be able to live where I live much longer.
Yeah, well, no one. We just have to be rich people. That's it. We subscribe to our Patreon.
That's fair. Yeah, don't forget, subscribe, like and subscribe. Hit that, smash that, punch that like button. It's where it's at. That's a plug. All right. So Bobbi Jo, she calls her husband Jeff Oberholtzer. At 6:30, she informs him that when she has her new promotion, which is awesome, she has worked really, really hard at this job. They were struggling a little bit to make it by in their small town of Alma, which they moved to in June of 1981. They moved there from Racine, Wisconsin. The couple was married in 1977. They ended up moving to Alma and founding a small little ranch where they had some horses, birds. Bobbi Jo really liked birds. She had some dogs, some cats, and Jeff had an appliance repair company that he founded out of Alma. Anyways, so there's
kind of just like saying, I know that's
maybe it's a really big one. Maybe it's like 1,000-acre ranch and they like literally can't go far enough to get away.
It just like one giant bird.
Or like
Just
most
one-
ranch animals,
just
they're
one-
actually not free. They're not free roaming. They're just all caged.
Oh, chicken. When
You
you
know?
say birds, I think
No.
of like swallows and shit.
No, I
You
had
said
read.
chickens.
No, they had chickens, yes, but no, like Bobbi Joe apparently had like this like super
Just-
affinity for like she had a parakeet and a parrot
Okay, there we go.
that lived
So there's
inside the house.
the town.
There were
macaw.
actual there were actual birds as well, right? It wasn't
Just like,
just
yeah, they're
chickens.
just on a
That's not
farm.
birds. I would
They're
say
on a
I would have
farm where
said
they have
chickens.
birds. Chickens.
I've had chickens before. I don't think that they are considered birds. They're
Well,
farm animals.
Yeah, but you said that where they had a whole bunch of animals on their farm, like birds. That just kind of
I did
confused me.
say
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I did say
I'm
that. So
sorry.
all right.
Sorry. Maybe it's my dumb brain. Keep going.
Bobbi Joe lets Jeff know of her awesome new promotion. She also lets Jeff know that she is going to go out and grab a drink with her coworkers at the village pub.
Hell yeah.
This takes place at the Bell Tower complex, which Bobbi Joe's workplace is in this same complex. I don't know if they have these across the country, but like they're like little mini malls where like there's offices, but there's a grocery store, and then there's like a bar that's like attached to it, and they all are like, in my opinion, usually weird places to end up going when you go to the bars at mini malls.
One
But
in
that's just
Steamboat
my kind of
looks exactly the same, and we call it Little Breckenridge
Lil Breck,
because it's built,
which is
exactly
where
the
this
same as this.
takes place.
It's a sin.
So, anyways, she lets him know that she's going to go grab some drinks with some coworkers. They're all going to celebrate. And then she's going to get a ride home from one of her coworkers. There's 3 of them that are out that night, but she lets Jeff know that she will be home around 8 to 8 for dinner. So they're going to have a late dinner. So 1, to let him know what she's doing, and 2, prepare for a nice dinner. She got a big promotion and it's time to celebrate. Oh yeah, go for it. What you got?
I feel like coming from a ski town, and if I got a promotion, 8:30 would not be like a time that I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to party from 5 to 8.
Right. Well, so at the time, Bobbi Joe was only 29. But her and Jeff had also just recently, like, she's kind of done, like, she's been there, she's done all the party stuff. She had kind of sort of grown out of it, and her and Jeff were like actually trying to settle down and have another child. They have one child at this point. They do, but I don't know literally everything that I looked through. She's mentioned only like offhandedly as like, oh yeah, and there was a child that they had.
They also had a kid.
I'll get into it a little bit further, like as we go through this case, but they do have one child, but Bobbi Joe isn't like a partier anymore, I would say.
Exactly. That's why she was like 8:30 and that's it. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I'm heading out. It takes about a half an hour for her to get home from Breckenridge to Alma. It's about 15 miles, but yeah, exactly. Well, they have one vehicle between the two of them. Mm-hmm. This whole story hinges around this idea of hitchhiking, which used to be incredibly popular, especially like, I don't know. I even talked to my father who grew up East Coast, but moved here in the 80s. He's not a suspect. And
it definitely wasn't him. Okay.
Anyways, hitchhiking was extremely popular. It became like a taboo subject where like people were never hitchhiking again because of stories like the ones we're talking about where because it's like an extremely opportunistic place to murder people.
Let's go hitchhike.
Random people picking up random people and putting them in their cars is a really good way to murder someone. So people don't really hitchhike too much anymore.
Makes sense.
People also, along the same lines, still go to truck stops and they just hang out there. I can think of one person that comes to mind. That'd be you.
Talking about me. I love to do it. Yeah.
I'm talking about you, dude. You just hang out at truck stops.
No, I don't. I sleep there sometimes.
Yeah, you hang out there. Yeah.
I don't just like.
But anyways, super sketchy place to be.
And be like, hey, what's up, Terry? How's it going? Filling up with gas again? But good to see you.
You're gonna hit up a diner. I'm not saying you're picking up lot lizards, but like, you know, these are where like a lot of crimes happen. Is that too? And for some reason, that one's still moderately popular. But you know, these other the hitchhiking thing has definitely fallen by the wayside since then because of crimes like these happen literally all the time. People get picked up and disappear. Yep. Especially people stop hitchhiking like in the 90s because of literally all of the murders that happened in the 80s.
Fucking 80s, man. Ruined everything.
Yep. All right, back to the story. So, Bobbi Jo, she's hanging at the bar with her friends. It's about 8:00, and she's like, "Hey, where are my friends? They're outside smoking, but they're trying to tell her to stay out and keep partying. They must be like you and I, where they're like, hey, we're gonna do this all motherfucking night."
Hey, it's
and she's
only
like,
7:30. You got till 8:30.
It's literally, yeah, let's fucking go. No, but they're like, hey, you're gonna like rowdy, like you're getting rowdy tonight, right? You just got a huge promotion. Not only
Just
are
like
we
the
getting
one-
rowdy, but you're buying.
Yeah, the Usher song. They just
Yep.
got me falling in love again. Super Bowl, get it?
That's a flashback / flash forward to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so her friends want to stay out, and she's just like not gonna have it. She's like, hey, no, I'm heading home. So she doesn't see her friends, but she tells the bartender at the what is it, the village pub, that she's gonna head home and she's gonna hitchhike. So please tell my friends I'm getting out of here. And so what she does, pretty much. So she heads about a block and a half from where the bar is to this little mini mart that's at the south end of Breckenridge, Colorado. She is last seen around 8:00 by an actual witness that stopped and talked to police later on and said that he saw her and was going to give her a ride, but he was only going half the way to Alma. He was a construction worker who he knew Bobbi Jo, but he was not going all the way to Alma. He didn't want to give her a ride all the way and leave her stranded in the middle of nowhere at some random house and then have to get the rest of like the 3-4 miles that she still needed to go down the road.
It was 3 and an extra 3 miles. Yeah.
That's what he was like. From what I saw, it was about like it was somewhere between 3 and 5 miles. So anyway,
I can take you 6. I can't take you 9.
Yeah, for some reason, you know,
Ridiculous.
that's the way it goes.
Okay.
Well, he
Yeah,
feels
that
really
seems
definitely like went to
true.
police and was like, I feel so terrible. I saw her just after 8:00 and I should have given her a ride. Like literally, this is like a whole testimony thing that he had.
Hey man, like I was trying to watch Miami Vice and I knew it started at 8:00, and so I knew the extra 3 miles would get me.
He wasn't gonna make it by 8:30. Nope. All right, cut 2. It's about 11:30. Jeff Oberholtzer wakes up and Bobbi Jo is not home. He knows right away that something is wrong. He had, like, Bobbi Jo had left early with her coworkers. So what happens is he wakes up. He has dinner that's just still sitting on the table. He figured Bobbi Jo would wake him up when she got home. It's supposed to be around 8. It's now 11:30. He knows immediately that something's wrong, so he calls Bobbi Jo's coworkers, and they inform him that Bobbi Jo came home not early, but left before 8:00 to get home to literally have dinner with Jeff. This is super, like, he's already like, why isn't she home? Then he hears that her friends that she was supposed to be out with aren't with her and said that she left around 8. So he immediately decides he's going to head to Breckenridge, or at least head on the road from his house to Breckenridge to go find Bobbi Jo. It's about 15 miles from Alma to Breckenridge over Hoosier Pass. He heads to Bobbi Jo's workplace. She had been known to here and there if the weather was bad, or, you know, I know that we talked about her not really partying too much, but they had moved there a year ago, and I think once or twice had stayed at her place of work. There was a couch there that she was able to crash on. It's also the 80s. People really don't give a shit at all about like getting down, people partying, staying at your workplace. Don't drive hammered 30 miles or 15 miles or whatever it is home.
They used to drive hammered all the time in the 80s.
Yeah, they didn't care at all.
They're hitchhiking, they drove hammered, so good for her.
It's crazy. The stories that I've heard from people that are older than me, they're like, oh yeah, man, when I was a kid, like the best place to go drinking with my friends when I was in high school was in our cars driving around on back roads.
They did that for sure.
And that's Definitely changed from nowadays.
I'm sure they're still doing it. Just, I don't know, kids don't really drink.
I won't weigh in on that.
I'm just like, I'm vaping.
Oh, I'm just over here vaping, dude.
When I hit this vapid of tobacco, it's banana cherry.
You want to blow? Vaping tobacco.
With Rob Lowe, just say I'm vaping tobacco with Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe doesn't vape, dude. There's no way. I only know this because I saw like whenever I'd be at your house, above your toilet, you literally always had Rob Lowe and his kid, who were like superhuman, like people that are like, Rob Lowe looks younger than his kid that's 30 years younger than he is, or maybe even more.
You're talking about like in the Men's Health magazine?
That sat above your toilet, and every time I'd come over when we play NHL, it just sat there, and I'd look at Rob Lowe and his kid when I was pissing, and guaranteed that dude is like, he does not vap at all. He must have a pretty strict
question for you. Which one did you look at more?
Oh, definitely Rob Lowe.
Okay.
His kid kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie. He was really skinny.
He looks too much like Rob Lowe too. It weirds me out, but skinny.
He looks like Rob Lowe a lot, but like he's like really skinny. Whereas like Rob Lowe was like kind of full, handsome kind of guy. He looked like a little like he needed to eat some meals. Like Rob Lowe like spent like the first part of his life like partying really hard, and then the second part of his life being really health conscious, and the kid was only around for the second half of his life, so the kid's been super health conscious his whole life. That's what it looked like.
Very good assumption, because I assume the same.
Yep.
Also, I've never seen Rob Lowe's kid in anything other than that magazine.
No, literally, I've never seen it. I didn't even know he had a kid until I saw the magazine. So
it's like, oh shit, that kid.
What are we talking about? I'm getting back to the story.
Okay.
All right. So Jeff Oberholtzer, he goes to Bobbi Joe's work. All the lights are out. There is no cars in the parking lot. It's pretty evident that no one's at the Bell Tower Mall, specifically at their real estate office. He then goes to the police, but he can't file a report because I don't think this is necessarily the case anymore. I think this has actually changed within maybe the last 10 years because people understand that like when people go missing, it's not just a joke anymore. It's usually when people are filed reports about people missing within 24 hours, it's a serious thing, and people usually are missing. But back in 82, no way. They're like, hey, you need to come back tomorrow. See if she shows up tonight. If not, that's fine. Come to us tomorrow. Jeff is like super not satisfied with that. So he drives around Breckenridge for a while. He goes to the mini mart and doesn't see anyone. Drive the streets, can't find anyone. He heads home. Once he's home, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning at this point. He gives some friends and family and like, you know, acquaintances a call and says, hey, tomorrow we're starting a search party. Bobbi Joe's not home and I have no idea where she is. Okay. That's 4 a.m. At 9 a.m., Jeff gets a call from a local rancher who lives about 2 or 3 miles from where, or about 10 miles from where Jeff's place is. And they find, the rancher says that he has Bobbi Joe's ID and he's found it just on his property off of Highway 9. So anyways,
2 to 3 miles
Jeff
away.
and his friend, no, it's quite a bit further than that. It's about 10 to 12 miles is the ranch. Okay. So this is like, you know, Jeff expects when he picks up the phone that it's going to be Bobbi Joe, or that it's going to be the police. And that's like the bad one. We're kind of in the middle at this place where he's like, weird. Like, why is her ID found not in between Breckenridge and Alma, but further than Alma from Breckenridge, about 12 miles further from Breckenridge. Okay. Yep. Like a, you know, remember when you were a kid and you had your, like, you get your hotel cards and you throw them at each other and see who could like cut the other person's skin open?
I know, 12 miles.
She was able to throw it 14 miles. She hit the stratosphere and then it came back crashing to earth. That's something we didn't cover, is that Bobbi Joe Oberholtzer was a hell of a card thrower. And she used to be in the circus.
I mean,
no, none of that is 0% of that is true. All right. So
maybe 1%. You
at 9 o'clock, Jeff has he has some friends that are already over his place preparing for the search party to happen. They head to the rancher's house And on the way to the rancher's house, Jeff is 8 miles into the 12-mile drive. So they're like 3/4 of the way there. And he just like yells at his friends, stop. Right? He runs out into this field and finds this blue backpack. Inside the backpack, which he knows to be Bobbi Joe's. So he finds her backpack. There's some makeup, some sunglasses, some of Jeff's business cards. Next to the backpack, they find a blood-stained glove and some tissues, right? Yeah. So they head back. So they grab all this evidence, put it in their truck. They head to the rancher's place, go get the ID. It's another 3 or 4 miles down the road. It's odd how far away those items are, but Jeff theorizes that there's a car driving that direction that is finding and going through things and then throwing them out his passenger window because it's all found on the right side of the road. It's not like he's throwing them out his own window. Because he doesn't want them to be in the road. This is all Jeff's theory, right? He's saying, no, he's throwing them out the right side because he's hoping that they won't be on the road so they won't be found. Well,
they won't suspect it.
Granted, it was an extremely cold night and absolutely dumping snow that night. But you can still see a backpack in the middle of a field unless it's a fucking blizzard.
It's going to be like 14 inches of snow to cover the backpack at least.
Yeah.
At least
at minimum. Yeah, it's probably a JanSport. If we had to venture, like you literally carpenter nail on the head right there, you hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been a JanSport. We'll look at it because we have the case file, and we can actually look at the picture to see what Bobbi Joe's backpack looks like.
That's right.
So anyways, because of this, Jeff thinks we should backtrack towards Breckenridge, and he decides to start the search party at the top of Hoosier Pass. He's in a car. He has 2 other friends that have cars as well. There's a couple of people that are walking along what is called Highway 9. It's not really a highway. It's a mountain pass road that goes from Breckenridge to Alma and then through Alma. And then he has 3 friends that are on skis. Now, the reason that they're on skis is 1, because they're out there to have a good time. But 2, there's this, like, it's not a frontage.
I hope I find someone murdered, but I'm also
hey, man, if I can't get to Breck Mountain, I might as well put my skis on and go for a little jaunt. Yeah. So anyways, he has these 3 friends, and there's this little, like, it's not a frontage road, but it's like this little access trail, I'm going to call it, because it's all dirt and it's not serviced at all in the winter. That is just down, like, the embankment or the snowbank on the left side of the road. If you're heading down the road, so on the side that you'd be coming up if you were driving up the pass. And these friends literally get about 100 meters from the top of the pass where they started the search. They're 100 meters down, and they find a body that is later identified to be Bobbi Joe.
That's not as
yeah, that's kind of a bummer. But these guys did a good thing, and they didn't, like, venture over and see if it was her or not. They just saw this person or this body in the snowbank and immediately went back up to the road. And it just so happened that there was a sheriff driving up the pass, like right around the same time. So they flagged him down, and he got to work on this case.
So you don't think
that sheriff is named Norman Howie.
What's up? So you don't think anyone tried to
They
jump
didn't
that
jib
body
it
on
at
skis?
all. No jibs were had that day.
Nobody jibs.
Maybe before the 100 meters from the scene,
When you said
but
that
definitely
people
not
were
after.
on skis because they wanted to party, I thought maybe someone was going to try to body
Yeah,
jib.
but that was like I was being a little facetious.
Yeah, you were just trying to
Be a little
my interest
jokey.
by talking about
Yeah, I was.
jib and body. Yeah, that's.
It wasn't like
pretty
SSX Tricky on the side of the hill, and then all of a sudden there's a weird body in the middle of the trail.
pretty insensitive to just jib bodies.
They weren't doing that like, oh, like we have like the clip-in binding where you can just like kick your foot up.
We call that a crail.
Yeah, yep, I remember that. Yep. So, anyways, literally none of that happened. Sheriff Norman Howie is the sheriff that they flagged down. He ends up calling CBI detective Jim Hartke, who will stay with this case for about 20 years.
Jam, good on you.
Yep. So police arrive at the scene. Bobbi Jo is found in a snowbank a little off the side of the road, and then down this hill, and then kind of back up a little bit towards the trees. They find that she has been shot and injured next to Highway 9 by following the blood pattern. So what had happened is she got shot right near got over the snowbank and then rolled down this hill and then had attempted to go further up into the woods and had collapsed. She was shot twice. So one in the right breast and then one in the back. Yep, right in the tip.
Good shots.
With like a 38 or a 357 caliber revolver. They found some other evidence on her, not just the blood evidence, so they were able to track kind of where she moved. But they didn't find what they were kind of expecting. They didn't find any signs of sexual assault, but they did find 2 zip ties on her left wrist, one around her wrist, and then the other connected to that zip tie. So that's that's pretty interesting, but it wasn't. Yep. So the later the autopsy would show that she had died not from these gunshot wounds, like we kind of talked about. The gunshot wounds did not kill her. What she did die from is hypothermia and blood loss. So she died in the snowbank trying to crawl further away from. What's up?
That's technically like dying from being shot.
No, that's so much worse, though, dude.
It's
like
definitely worse. But
if you're bleeding out,
it's like I didn't.
Like if you're shot in the heart and you just die, that's a good thing. If you're shot in the head and you just die, it's a pretty easy death. This is a bad one.
Yeah, it turns out she didn't get killed from being shot. She just got killed from blood loss from being shot
and freezing to death.
Yeah, freezing. Yeah,
definitely a bummer.
It was a shot. That would
and to look at
sucks. That's probably the worst way to die.
Freezing and bleeding out.
Freezing and bleeding. It's a country song.
Yeah, it's a country song.
Yeah,
I was thinking like maybe it'd be some other kind of song, but it's definitely a country song. So yeah, the scene is like a little bit. They've kind of been able to pull some theories out of the scene. It looks like she had been tried to be bound with these zip ties. They also can see they can follow her footprints or like these like deep trudges through the snow. There's nothing on the actual highway itself. It's been snow plowed over. So everything that was actually on the highway is gone at this point. But they can see through the snowbanks and up and over the top of the snowbanks that there's a secondary set of tracks, but they can't get like any real read out of it other than someone had crawled up on top of the snowbank and they think that that's when the second shot happened, fallen down the hill off of the snowbank, and he shot her from the top of the hill down to the bottom is when she was shot in the back. Yep.
Seconds, dude.
Yep.
It's like also a dick move. Like shoot you when you're down. You're about to fall down. I'm gonna shoot you again.
So at this point, detectives get into searching the area, and they pretty much find what is termed as like a secondary scene. It's a highway pull-off that's about a third of a mile from where Annette is, or from where Bobbi Jo is found. Where Bobbi Jo is found. And if anyone's ever driven like a highway mountain pass, there's all these little spots, one for people to either park to like take some scenic pictures or to let someone go by you, that kind of stuff. At this pull-off, they find some more evidence. They find the matching glove of Bobbi Jo's. They find a hat, like a beanie style hat, like a winter hat. They find this metal hook-like weapon. And what this weapon is, we have a picture of it, and it's like a key ring with this like big metal clip attached to it, that like you can put in between your fingers and kind of like swipe at someone or punch someone, and it would definitely like hurt a lot.
Fuck a motherfucker up for sure.
Jeff, is at the scene when this is discovered and says that he knows that that's Bobbi Jo's made it and gave it to her. So there's another tie to Jeff there. The last thing that they find is this orange booty sock, which to me is like, it's an ankle sock. And it doesn't really seem at all to fit with this scene, because they find this sock and then they're pulling Bobbi Jo out of two-toe, meaning that she also has her own socks on. So this second sock, or this orange sock, doesn't seem to make any sense with this crime scene.
Yeah, like
so the second scene tells us a couple things. They find Bobbi Jo's matching gloves, so they definitely know that it's hers. Even though Jeff tells police he knows the first one is Bobbi Jo's, they find the second glove there. They have this hook-like weapon that has some small traces of blood on it, so it seems that Bobbi Jo was able to at least defend herself momentarily against this person. It must also, like, being that Jeff made it for her for like these specific occasions, like it was literally meant to be a defense tool for if someone tried to take advantage of her while hitchhiking.
It seems like
it has to be like such a bummer to like see it be used, and still it's just not quite enough. She was able to fight. Yeah.
It seems like an odd thing to be like a weapon for a husband to give to a wife. Like, hey, I fashioned you a ring hook, or like some just like it's got a little ring, and
it totally is.
Like, so it's like it's your hanger that you told me to throw away, but I didn't want to throw it away because I didn't want to waste the metal.
No,
so
I know.
Shivved it into a hook, and this is what
it's not like a weird yourself. Like it's not like a shiv. Like it looks like
no, I know it's literally like a fucking hook that she puts in her hand.
Yeah,
right? That's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like a knife, like a pocket knife.
I know. A knife would have done good, like, for sure.
I'm not like saying you don't have to say,
but it's a little inconspicuous.
Like,
so like maybe if you're being attacked, it wouldn't be super threatening. They wouldn't think like, oh, that's a weapon, but like they are definitely.
You can't slash someone, you just like fucking hit them from the top. Or like from under.
Yeah, you come off the top rope, dude. You you put it on your elbow and drop it hard, dude.
Schnee, I got you. Oh, Peter Pan. That's all I kept thinking about was the fact that this is the weirdest
don't make a Captain
thing.
Hook reference here. We're talking about a dead person.
Yeah, he's also dead, dude. R.I.P. So that's it.
Captain Hook.
Go on. I just think it's a weird.
R.I.P. to Captain Hook.
What the pocket knife? Pocket knife works just as well.
Yeah, pocket knife is
way better. Actually, way better than a fucking.
You're not wrong. And these things are like definitely brought up. So
like, what's with
because well, the police specifically are like, hey, what is with the hook? And
I don't doubt it.
At this point, we get into. Let's call it, they have their initial investigation of the scene. Now it's time to start talking to people. And speaking of the hook, the first person and the most important person they will talk to is Jeff Oberholtzer.
Yeah.
He is immediately deemed the primary suspect.
He's like, yeah, I gave her that
for
hook.
a number of reasons, but like the first one, which is with all of these cases, the exact same thing. He's the husband.
Mm-hmm.
The people closest to the victim are always the first to be the suspect.
100%. And he wasn't there. He was like at home. Why was he not celebrating this promotion?
That has never really been answered, other than the fact that he may, like, I'll get into that. All right.
They're 29. So, he's like, I'm just not going to party with you. I'm going to make.
Well, he's a little bit older. She's 29. He's, I think, 32 at the point.
That's not that fucking. But
a little bit older.
Sorry, right? I can't make it out tonight.
My hip's bad. My 32-year-old hip is bad.
In a ski town. I'm going to make you porridge and it's going to be ready. And then I'll be in bed. So, yeah, he's a little bit older. How old are you, Pete?
So I had it. The cat snuck in. So I'm 33.
Exactly. You're older than Pete. Or you're older than the old.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to celebrate any promotions. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely down.
Exactly. So I get it.
All right, so
I get
back
it
to
where
why Jeff
he
is
the
such.
suspect. Where were you, sir?
Where were you? Right. So he's the husband. There's also some reports having spoken with most of Bobbi Joe's family is like, oh yeah, Jeff was like a phenomenal guy. But they speak to Bobbi Joe's sister, who had come out and visited them within
promotion.
Yeah, but this is right after work. They're just gonna go do their thing. She's gonna come home. We're gonna do dinner, bang it out, have a kid, that kind of thing, you know.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because they be fucking trying to have kids.
Fair enough.
At least that's what's reported. And I don't know if that's coming from Jeff or what. But anyways, Bobbi Joe's sister has an interesting take on this. She had visited them just 2 months earlier and said that there was some weird strain, and Bobbi Joe never mentioned it, and obviously Jeff never mentioned it, but there was something off between the two of them. So this leads police even more so to be like a little bit skeptical of Jeff. Not only that, but Jeff is the one that organized the search party. He knew exactly where to start everyone. He didn't find the body, but he said, hey, this is where we're going to start. And about 100 meters that way, they find the body. Not a great look.
That's super suspicious.
Right? He has also found and handled key evidence in this case. He has not only found the body, didn't handle the body, but found the body. He has the backpack and her ID with him in his truck when police arrive at the scene. He gives it to them, but still, it's 100% compromised. And they just have to take his word that...
Orange socks from JCPenney's, right?
No, not 2 pairs of orange socks.
He had a receipt for 2 pairs. Right, I got confused.
Also, has a terrible alibi. He's just hanging at home. Now, Jeff says that he had a buddy of his staying at the house that night. Not like staying there overnight, but was hanging out with him. And when police get the name of this guy, they go to find him, and he's literally gone. And it takes literally detectives 10 years to even track down the name of this guy. And he ends up in like Vermont or like Maine or something like that, like literally across the country.
He made it up.
I don't know if he did or not. It's super weird. Why would you bring this up? It doesn't make any fucking sense. He has no one to corroborate other than this one guy saying that, oh yeah, Jeff was at home. I was there with him. Right? Now he does answer the phone at 6:30, but that's the last real phone contact that we even have with Jeff. Bobbi Joe disappears around 8. Really, we don't hear from Jeff until he is at the police station at around like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's a ton of time in between there.
Yeah.
Right. On top of that, yeah, there's no one to corroborate him being anywhere. This is where like the daughter comes back in that they already have. I have no idea where the daughter is at this point. I don't know why they didn't ask her where he was. It's not brought up at all. I don't know at this point. She must have been younger than 10, obviously. You know, the couple got married. They had been together for 6 years. And it had been 5 years since they had been married. So she can't be much older than 5 or 6.
But maybe she's like...
I don't know if she was there. She might have been at like grandparents or something like that. They're trying to like get all of their, like I said, they were kind of scraping by. So it could be that like maybe she was back home in Wisconsin with either Bobbi Joe's family or Jeff's family or something like that. They were like scraping by trying to make it in Colorado at this point. So the daughter, I have a question. I don't know where she is. I can't find any evidence of someone talking to her and having anything to add to the conversation, but there would provide any testimony or alibi for Jeff at this point.
Or any comments ever in this entire.
Yeah. So the last part is that in the weeks after this whole thing happens, Jeff like goes full vigilante or like rogue, asking like, he's like tracking people down and like asking like, you know, common hitchhikers and people that are giving people rides hitchhiking and like, you know, the rancher and like all these people, like he's going like full true detective on this shit, like getting ridiculous about things. And while that's understandable, it always looks bad when you're like inserting yourself into the investigation.
Let's go this way. Yeah, that seems
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, you got to talk to this guy, or you got to talk to this guy. Like these kinds of things point detectives, like you're trying to determine where the case should go. And that can be like overly concerned in a good way. But sometimes it definitely is the case that like you're too invested. And that's because you're trying to direct the investigation away from yourself.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Jeff knows this, and he knows how bad it looks. He volunteers himself for a polygraph test and literally passes with like flying colors. Like they ask him everything. He's not rattled. He has certainly like, spiked things, like, his, things spike when he's asked hurtful questions or tough things, but nothing that would ever, like, he literally had no indication in either of his polygraphs about deception. So after a few weeks, like, there's evidence. Well, I'm not ruling him out.
Fair enough.
He passes the polygraphs, but he has a whole lot of shit working against him. All right. The case loses steam. But what is good is that the DNA is sent off from Bobbi Joe's glove, and it's determined, though, that it's the same blood type as Bobbi Joe herself. Now, this is the early 80s. You're pretty early in DNA technology. They're not expecting much. They're hoping for a different blood type. Yeah. They don't really know at this point.
It was like the 90s.
They're like, what the fuck? The DNA is the same. All they could tell was blood type. You have your like 5 blood types, and that was like it. Or maybe 3. I don't really. There's a few. I'm not up on my blood types.
Blood types for sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, the case is like totally come to a standstill until July 3rd of that same year in 1982. A young boy finds a woman floating in Sacramento Creek, which is about 10 miles from Breckenridge. She is shot in the back, which is incredibly reminiscent of Bobbi Joe. The investigators are quick to look for connection between the murders because of that. When police show up to the scene, the woman's body is actually fairly well. Nope, Charlie Sheen is not involved in this case.
You said
not even a little bit.
Show up to the Sheen and it got confused.
Yep. Nope. Martin Sheen isn't in here either. Yep. So when police show up to the scene, they find a woman's body. It's actually pretty well preserved. And why that is, they later determined, is because this body has been there for a while and it's been insulated by the snow. And why I know that that snow acts as an incredible insulation method is because when I was maybe like 21 or 22, I would draw maps of the county that I live in, and I would hide either booze or beer for my friends. And like you could put the beer and like completely pack it in snow, and it wouldn't freeze because the snow would insulate it. And that's how we would always get drunk on New Year's, is that my friends and I would just go on this like cool scavenger hunt and go find all our booze.
You would just hide it.
That's what we do during the day on New Year's, or like on New Year's Eve. Yeah. All over the county. And I would hand draw maps. Oh yeah, dude. I think the farthest one was in Oak Creek Canyon.
Okay. Need something.
That's the farthest one, was like midway through Oak Creek Canyon, which is like a half hour from, or like 20 minutes from where we are. Yeah, it's like across the country for you. You'd have to drive a long way to go to Oak Creek Canyon.
Sure would, unless there's an Oak Creek close to me.
There probably is.
I digress.
Anyway, so when investigators find her, she's wearing a jacket that has this wallet insert, which is like these little plastic sheets that like you used to tuck into your wallet, and it has her ID as well as her social security card. What's up?
Is there in the jacket?
I don't know. I don't know exactly. They didn't do a recreation of them pulling the wallet. Pulling the wallet inserts out of her jacket. They didn't do that. Right. And through the ID and through the social security card, they find that the woman floating is Annette Schnee. Police are looking at her and they are seeing that she was dressed in a hurry. Since her clothes are like all in disarray, and all out of sort. Her shirt's on backwards. Her pants are, the zipper is broken on her pants, and her shoes are on the wrong feet. Police most likely believe this because of that to be a case of sexual assault.
It was before Christmas, too, so
yeah, this.
before Christmas.
Yep. They're still like trying to link, like they see immediately that she's shot in the back, and they're like, "Huh, this is very strange." So different than Bobbi Jo. She seemed to have only been shot one time, right? Along with this other evidence, they take off her mismatched shoes that are on the wrong feet, and they find one blue striped sock. It's like a long, like knee-high sock, and then one orange booty sock.
Don't say it. No way.
They won orange booty sock. Yup.
That's why they call it the orange sock murder.
Yep, that's why. Right? So now investigators are like certain that these cases, not just because of the shop, not because of the shots, not just because of these socks, but also this woman, Annette Schnee, was reported missing on January 9th, 1982, which is 3 days, if you remember, after the murder of Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer, right? The last scene, like Annette last seen was January 6th. So the exact same day.
Yeah. So she just been chilling in snow. Just not decomposing because she's in that snow where you, same way you hit.
Yeah, and she had definitely somewhere, you know, we're into July. We know what July can be like. Once it hits July, things start heating up.
July, I guess I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's 6 whole months later.
Oh.
But still, like, you know, there's definitely some decay and stuff like that, but fairly well preserved to where they were able to like literally look at the body and be like, hey, things don't look right.
This person is
like the clothes is, yeah, well, obviously that the clothes and stuff like that, they were able to say that they were like put on, like the clothes are backwards and the you know, the jeans, the zipper is broken on them. So real quick, we're just going to go into a small little talk about Annette Schnee and her background. She was born in 1960 in Sioux City, Iowa. She was described by friends and family as like literally like the model type. She's super pretty. Yep. Wicked hot. She moved to Breckenridge in 1981 after going to modeling school in Kansas City. She moved to Breckenridge to become an airline stewardess, based out of Denver, and had easy, dude. Chill.
I didn't know that was.
Don't speak ill of the dead. God damn.
Stuck a chord. She tried really hard at modeling, but
she tried, dude. She didn't want to do it
in Breckenridge, which is over an hour and a half from Denver, where the closest hub is.
Just shaking my head at you.
Why?
Nothing at all. Anyways, so she moves into the Blue River apartment complex. It's located right at the base of Hoosier Pass outside of Breckenridge.
It's even further.
Keep in mind, Hoosier Pass is, you're not wrong, it's even further from Denver.
It's even further to drive to Denver.
We'll recognize the name Hoosier Pass because that is where Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer is found. Right? She also worked at the Holiday Inn in Frisco, which is about 10 miles away from her apartment, and worked as a server at the Flipside Bar in downtown Breckenridge.
So that still says that she's not doing good at modeling, so don't get at me about it.
She's dead. Literally died. It's the whole thing here.
It's like over 20 years ago.
Stop making fun of her, you asshole.
I'm not making fun of her.
You are. You said she couldn't cut it at modeling school. She had to go be an airline stewardess, and she couldn't cut it at that, so she became a waitress.
All I said was, when you don't make it in modeling. You become a stewardess, which you can't say stewardess anymore. And then you were the one that was like super sensitive about it for some reason.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm a
don't
little
speak-
sensitive about it. You're just like ripping on this chick
I
that
know.
died. It's the story's about her.
Sorry.
Comic relief.
So anyway, she's dead.
She's definitely dead. She's been dead for about 6 months. So we go back to when she was last seen, which is again January 6th. On January 6th, she was working. Nope, not quite yet. She was working at her shift at the Holiday Inn because she ran a double on this day. Right? She leaves the Holiday Inn in Frisco, which is about 10 minutes from Breckenridge. No, 10 minutes from 10 minutes from Breck, I'd say.
Give or take.
Yeah.
I'd say it's further.
And she hitchhiked to this pharmacy in Breckenridge. Now, here's this really weird story. This weird part of the story. She was accompanied by, as a witness statement was given, she was accompanied by another woman in the pharmacy. This woman has never come forward or been identified. Composite drawing of what she looks like. And I'll come back to this when we get to the end of the episode. Yeah, we'll get there. And then she was seen leaving the pharmacy around 4:30 p.m. Now, she never showed up for her shift at the Flipside bar that night at 6 p.m. It's assumed, police assumed, nope, dying. Dying is the word you're looking for. Police assume that Annette went missing sometime right after her 4:30, when she was seen at the pharmacy at 4:30. There's a couple of reasons for that. Her roommates did not report her coming home for her shift, as well as her server outfit was literally set on her bed and ready to go. But that was untouched when investigators showed up there 2 weeks after she was reported missing. A coworker at the Holiday Inn reported her missing after not showing up for 2 shifts on January 9th. Right? So we go back to Annette's crime scene. Annette was found with a single shot to her back caused by a 38 or a .357 caliber handgun. The exact same as Bobbi Joe.
Yep. That's what you paused for.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering if you were gonna jump in there and be like, "Hey."
No,
right? We have the wallet insert with her name and her social security. Right? The clothes she has clothes on, but something seems weird. They're they're not put on right. It seems like they were put in a rush or something like that. We have the orange sock, and then she's found around 10 miles from Breckenridge and only 5 miles from Bobbi Joe.
Too far from that guy earlier to drive.
Way too far. Yeah, that guy wouldn't have gone there at all. He'd be like, "Hey, that's even further than I planned on going."
Told you I'd drive you 3 miles, but no, not 8. This is crazy.
Yeah, that guy's definitely not our killer. He needed to be somewhere at 8:30. There's no way that he's doing any of this.
It's a lot different than me.
Which makes sense because police don't rule him in at all. Who they do kind of look at, right? They think that this guy is local because Annette's body is found in a pretty obscure area that you'd have to know the area to get to. They know that the scenes are obviously...
They found her on skis. Yeah.
No, she was not skiing.
They found her on skis. Oh, not Annette.
Not Annette. No. Annette was found this... It's really sad. This 5-year-old kid and his dad were just out fishing, and the kid found her.
What's this?
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at you.
What's this? Oh, what's this? Jesus Christ! It's a dead woman, kid. He ain't no dummy.
Pop, and this is not a fish.
So investigators are like, all right, we know that this guy is most likely familiar with the area. We know that these scenes are now connected for a multitude of reasons. You have the same night that they've gone missing. You have the sock. You have the method. They're all the same. They're definitely tied together, right? Police are banking on this mystery woman coming forward. So they post up this composite sketch that the pharmacist gives at where Annette was picking up her prescription because she was sick. And even with all that, no one shows up. And eventually the case has trouble moving forward and starts to slow down and go cold. But then cut to September 19th, police find Annette's backpack near Hoosier Pass.
The JanSport.
Inside the backpack, they find, it's probably a JanSport again. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely gonna be a
It's the
JanSport
80s.
again.
It's
I don't
like-
think that they made. I don't think there was another backpack company. East Bay wasn't even around then.
What's
Yeah.
the little one that they have that like Disneyland?
Yeah.
That happens
The what?
There's the little
The
tiny,
Disney Men?
So in Disneyland, you can buy like really small backpacks for like, I'd say 7 times the price of a regular backpack. And they're really popular because they have like Disney.
Okay.
I digress.
That's fair. I feel like I see like lots of these when you wear that backpack.
Oh
You,
yeah,
kind of like look behind.
Mhm.
You
Exactly.
do one of those. Is that right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've
100%.
seen those backpacks for
Yeah,
sure.
They're very, very like they're like this size. They look like a
They're like the size of like maybe your head.
like maybe fit your wallet. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
It's
love
like,
that.
hey,
That's
this
a
is
stupid
90
idea.
bucks. I got it in Disneyland. It's got Donald Duck.
Mm-hmm. All right. So back to the crime scene.
Mhm.
They find in its backpack, and inside the backpack, they find 2 pieces of like super interesting evidence. They have a picture of a young man, youngish man in his probably 20s. We'll look at it. He looks very similar to like it has like a very like military style to it. It's
Mhm.
not like he's not wearing a hat or anything like that, but it looks like this guy is in the military. He definitely looks like he's been in a fight recently as well. Looks to have like a black eye and his nose is pretty swollen on one side, right?
Okay.
But upon like further investigation by police, no one close to Annette can identify who this person is. Like, and it's still
So
to this
also-
day, no one has any idea.
So just another mystery person. Then what? Why even tell us this evidence?
Because it's crazy. What does it mean?
I'm not saying you. Why are you telling me this? Like, why do the cops be like, hey, also there's this person that's been beat the fuck out of that, like, we think was part of it, but also we're never.
You
put
never
any of
know
that
like
in.
where your like, you know, person in the rough is going to come from, where like they put this picture in a news clipping and said, hey, like, does anyone recognize this person? And like no one
Okay.
no one
Wild
like
card.
I don't think they actually did that. Yeah, exactly. So we have 2 completely mystery people.
Mhm.
And no one knows who the woman that Annette was with or why Annette has this like picture of this guy in her backpack. Totally not known. The other key piece of evidence that's found inside the backpack is Jeff Oberholtzer's business card.
I thought you said orange socks.
No, he doesn't wear
Still,
orange socks.
But still,
He has a business card, right? So Jeff is still, like, this is a huge development. Jeff is still a suspect for Bobbi Joe. He
Yeah.
has not been ruled out at all. Like,
no.
yes, he's passed the polygraphs, and like they haven't been able to find enough evidence to really tie him to anything. But
Yeah.
now he's also tied to Annette, who is one tied to Bobbi Joe.
Yeah, because of the socks.
And then you go back to what we talked about earlier. Police remember Bobbi Joe's sister saying, hey, like something was weird and off with Bobbi Joe and Jeff. And it makes investigators think like, what's the tie between these 3? Is Jeff cheating with Annette
Ooh.
and something goes out, so he fucking kills Bobbi Joe and then kills Annette? Or, you know, is Bobbi Joe cheating? Maybe she's like fooling around with women and he takes her out and stuff like that. Police like have no idea where to fucking go with any of this shit. So they go back to where they should go, which is Jeff. He's been all over this case, with Bobbi Joe's case at least. He's inserting himself into investigation. He's finding all the evidence. He has the search party that like he literally found the body before the police even got activated.
Yeah.
Now his business card is found with Annette. And then the craziest thing, like, I don't know, Jeff like is such
Crazier
an
than
interesting person in this whole case, because like he's either really dumb or really unlucky. But when he realized that Bobbi Joe wasn't the only person who went missing in the couple weeks that Bobbi Joe went missing.
Yeah.
He knows that Annette has been missing. He like claims 2 people and 2 detectives that Annette Schnee, because he knows the name because it was reported in the police or in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
She would be found on the 4th of July, about 5 miles from where Bobbi Joe was found.
No fucking shit.
So he missed the day by 1 day, right? It's July 3rd when she's found. And she's found like literally like 4.5 miles from where Bobbi Joe was found.
Why would you even bring that shit up unless you fucking murdered?
I don't know, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's either super unlucky or just dumb.
That's like a Joker thing.
Like, if you're trying to get in trouble, say dumb shit like that.
It's like the Zodiac killer. You will find.
Yeah, or maybe exactly, or maybe he's incredibly unlucky because like you just throw some random shit out there and it just happens to be like pretty much what you predicted.
Just like old
like
person
I said,
in a ski
Jeff
town.
is fucking ridiculous.
I bet if that person was murdered, like if they were murdered in January, it's gonna take at least till July 3rd for that snow to melt, and that's when you're gonna find that person.
And that's when you'll find her. Yeah, literally, like that's how it went.
Be true.
No, that's like literally what it is. Like, it's dumb shit like that. And like it's either like So the police are like automatically like, what the fuck, Jeff? Like, you gotta like, we're bringing you back in and we're doing this whole fucking thing over again. So he claims that he doesn't know Annette.
I never gave him my business card.
He didn't recognize her name, but after seeing a picture in the newspaper, he's like, oh shit, I changed my mind. I do remember I gave her a ride.
Oh yeah, fuck that
One
girl.
time. One time.
It was only one time.
Is what he claims. And he said that on that same day that he gave her a ride, somehow he remembers all this from like, I don't know. It was like from the year before.
Mm-hmm.
That he had given her a ride. He needed to stop at the bank. But the crazy thing is that he has witness corroboration for all of this because the bank teller recognized Jeff and thought that the woman at first was Bobbi Joe because they look fairly similar, but then realized that it wasn't, and she remembered that. Okay. So with all this, Jeff literally knows, again, how fucking bad all this shit looks. He volunteers his DNA. So he just says, take a DNA sample, use it for whatever you need to. He goes and passes another polygraph test. Flying colors, like still has the same exact stuff as before, where like he gets heated when police try to put blame on him. But other than that, flying colors. And then there's like
thinking it was me. I just keep telling you
I don't know
what happened, and I kept leading things to the bodies, but it wasn't me, you asshole.
I promise, it's just all coincidence.
Obviously, I passed the lie detector, but it was just coincidence. I led you right to these bodies.
Yeah. The evidence is stupid. Yes. Well, like the circumstances are stupid. The evidence is not there, though. So they, again, don't charge Jeff with anything. That doesn't mean that he's ruled out. He remains the primary suspect for almost this entire case. So we're going to jump in our little fast forward machine. 7 years later, there's a retired Denver detective that moves to Summit County named Charlie McCormick, and he takes over the case. As it's obviously a cold case at this point. It's stuffed away in the back. He takes $1 a year to investigate this case from the Schnee family. That must be for tax reasons or something. Literally $1 a year. Where he starts first is he begins by looking into similar cases in the area at the same time. And he has no hits that come from CODIS, which is like the DNA where like what do you call that? The DNA warehouse, the DNA infrastructure. I don't know. What the fuck am I thinking of?
I don't know. The DNA lounge.
Yeah. Where they keep all the DNA information for felons and stuff like that. It's all uploaded into a database. It's a DNA database.
DNA database. All right. What'd you say before?
Warehouse. I said warehouse.
The DNA warehouse, same.
Yeah, where they keep all the DNA in the cloud.
I just pictured like vials of blood, like all the way up to a ceiling.
Yeah, it's
That's
fucking
where the
wild,
DNA
dude.
lives. How's that not gone bad?
So there's no hits in CODIS.
no
right?
hits in coitus.
But-
I get it.
Yep, we hit in coitus. But we do have this guy named Tracy Petrocelli who was arrested in Colorado. He had killed his wife in Washington State and then fled through Colorado and was arrested down by Durango.
Dickhead.
But they find through interviewing him that he stayed in the exact Holiday Inn that Annette Schnee was working at on the exact same night that she went missing. They're
He
like,
fucking
dude, we've
murdered
got
her.
our guy.
He
This is
fucking
him.
murdered her.
DNA is not a match.
What the fuck, really?
So then they find this guy named Tom Luther, and he was arrested in the early spring of 1982, so in March, for picking up a 21-year-old hitchhiker, raping her, and then attacking her with a hammer.
That's not
Okay.
the move of the murderer.
Super, like a similar, very similar type crime to the Oberholtzer and Schnee cases.
No shot in the back.
They
baby.
get this information from a jailhouse informant, right? Who is saying that this guy, Tom Luther, has bragged about murdering these women. He says that he's killed Bobbi, Joe Oberholtzer, and Annette Schnee. When police show up, he denies all doing in that.
just like an attention grab. Like, hey, look at me.
Yeah. Yeah, you act tough in prison. I think that you see these a lot in cases, and we'll continue to cover them.
100%.
We'll see these all the time. People trying to act tough and saying that you did more than you did, and that's whatever. But when they show up, when police actually show up and say, "Hey, what do you know?" He says, "I don't know anything. I was
Would
just
you
making
say
all this
fuck
up."
around and find out?
Yep.
Yep.
Also, DNA cleared. Okay. So that's in the early 90s. Cut to 1998. We have a little bit of an advancement. Yeah. A little bit of advancement in DNA technology. And we find that the blood on on Bobbi Joe's glove is not Bobbi Joe's. It is the same blood type, but it's an unidentified male. So
Interesting.
while it doesn't necessarily point to a suspect, it does indicate that there's like a really good blood sample that they have, and they can use it when the DNA technology gets to the point where they can identify people. Cut 2020, the year 2020.
Ooh, that's
We're 22 years after the
In the
last
future.
update in this case. We're
Jesus.
close to 40 years in this case,
It's too damn high.
right? At this point, the Park County Detective Sergeant Wendy Kipple sends in another sample of this DNA from the glove to United Data Connect, which is a genealogy tracing company out of Denver. They specialize in solving cold cases. Now, they do a pretty good job initially. It's narrowed down to 12,000 people. But from there, they have a large portion that submits their DNA back to United Data Connect. And it helps narrow down that list way better. So pretty much we're narrowed all the way down to 2 people, and they are the Phillips brothers.
Shit.
You have
Who are the
Bruce
Phillips
Phillips.
brothers?
Bruce Phillips is one brother. Now, he has lived in Arizona for most of his life. He is estranged, so he has no ties to the Silverthorne Breckenridge area.
Okay.
Besides his estranged brother named Alan Lee Phillips.
Okay.
Alan Lee Phillips is 30 years old when these murders are occurred. When these murders have occurred. He lived in Dumont, Colorado, which is about 50 minutes from Breckenridge.
Damn near, dude.
He does have a criminal history. But the weird thing is that, Wendy Kipple can see that he has a criminal history, but she has to find the actual file to see what the case was. And literally, can't find anything anywhere. The old police filing building in Breckenridge burnt down in 1999, I believe. And most of the files were lost. But somehow she has a partial file and learns. She goes through hundreds and hundreds of files that are not even organized anymore.
Okay.
Finds a partial file where we find that Alan Lee Phillips was convicted and served 6 months for picking up a hitchhiker and assaulting her at like this remote abandoned cabin that's right near Breckenridge.
If the orange sock fit.
If the orange sock fits, wear it.
Mhm.
Yep. So at this point, Alan is under watch. They're seeing his every move. They're sitting there staking him out. Everyone else on his block, he now lives in Georgetown, throws away their trash. The trash company comes and picks it up. Alan burns all of his trash. Nothing comes out of his house that is accessible by the public. Not only that, he lives alone and is like pretty much a hermit, just like stays within his yard and his house. At this point, his DNA is finally recovered from a discarded Sonic bag at the local post office. And it turns out they take a sample of his straw from that bag, and it's a match. Exactly. For the blood that is found on Bobbi Joe Oberholtzer's glove. So at this time, the genealogy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Completely.
Gene is becoming this huge story.
Mm-hmm.
We have just like at this, similar to the same time, we have like the Golden State Killer.
Mm-hmm.
This is how he was caught.
Yeah, exactly.
So this case is also huge. It's another huge like step onto why like this genealogy testing is so important, and it's like solving all of these cold cases.
I thought the Golden State Killer was solved because of Patton Oswalt's stuff. Or wife.
What?
The Golden State Killer was solved by Patton Oswalt's late wife.
No.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, I mean, like yeah, but she didn't like solve anything. She just put them all together.
Sorry, I was just giving her a little credit.
We do need to give credit where credit is due.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't deserve any credit for this case. She doesn't have any. She literally doesn't deserve any credit for this case. She had nothing to do with it.
She's dead, dude. She brought it back up.
So are our victims, and you don't think they're pretty enough.
I was just saying, she was once a model, and then a stewardess. That's all
I get it. And Michelle McNamara was once just a regular journalist and then solved a crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
I respect
Anyways, this is all bullshit. Why the fuck are we talking about this? It's because this case makes national news, right? But we quickly come to realize that it's not Alan Lee Phillips' first time in the national news spotlight. We're going to tell you a quick story involving Harold Bray,
I'm not going to say shit. It's going to be just you.
Jefferson County Sheriff. He is flying out of Denver International Airport to California, and this flight travels over the mountains of Colorado, specifically Guanella Pass. While flying over Guanella Pass, Harold Bray sees this vehicle signaling with their headlights SOS. He gets out of his seat. He in the plane, he sees it through his plane window, sees this car signaling SOS to this plane.
Yep.
He gets up, he talks to the pilots, lets them know that they need to radio down and dispatch someone because there's someone stuck in Guanella Pass, which Harold Bray knows to be absolutely impassable, especially on this cold night.
This path is impassable.
So,
I get it.
Yep. He dispatched the pilots dispatched Dave Montoya. He's the fire chief out of Georgetown, and he goes up, finds this man stuck in the snowbank in his car, and he's super thankful to have been rescued. Right? He was the one that was flashing the SOS signal. He has this deep, deep bruise on his face, and Dave Montoya actually knows him because Dave Montoya and Alan Lee Phillips worked in a mine together near Georgetown. All of this takes place on January 6th, 1982. The exact same night that Bobbi Joe Oberholtzer and Annette Schnee are murdered.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that.
Yep. So all of this comes out after the initial arrest. Dave Montoya actually volunteers that information, and Harold Bray is a corroborating witness saying, yes, I did see that. All right. So now we'll get into the very last details of it. Alan Lee Phillips was arrested and sentenced in September 2022. He is serving 2 consecutive life sentences. He maintained his innocence throughout the entire trial, did not take any type of guilt plea on any of these. He unfortunately died by suicide on May 27th, 2023, and took pretty much his secrets and his motives with him. So we don't really know what he was doing, if he committed more crimes, anything like that.
Well, like the shoe
Jeff
fix,
Oberholtzer,
like,
it does.
They found the same DNA. You can't
Yep.
oh yeah, like you can't deny that.
Yeah.
Sorry, so many people just deny the fact that they I didn't murder that person, even though my DNA matched right on her
Sorry
face.
about blood's all over their body.
Must be a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. And we'll kind of end this case with the fact that Jeff Oberholtzer, despite all of the years of being pretty much the primary suspect for this crime, is happy to, one, have the case be closed and cleared, and also to have some closure of knowing who the fuck did all of this, because he spent the last almost 40 years of his life being the primary suspect for his own wife's murder.
Yeah, but he also did a bunch of dumb shit. That's a
fucking bummer. He did a lot of dumb shit. Yeah, for sure. And you can't forget that. But he's happy that this thing is fucking over, and that he's not in jail. Like, you know, if your wife or your girlfriend was fucking murdered and like you did a bunch of dumb shit because you were fucking 30 years old, you'd be happy when you're 70. When you're 70 years old, to no longer be the primary suspect for your own wife or girlfriend's murder.
Like, all right, you cops don't want to go have a search party. You're going to wait tomorrow. You're going to go tomorrow and search. Fuck you. I'm going to go do it right now.
Fuck you. I'm going to do it, you goddamn pieces of shit.
I'll fucking get on some goddamn keys right now, and I'll start searching for people right here. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
I understand. All right.
So...
what else we got here?
Further discussion on the case. I got some questions for you. You ready?
No, I hate questions.
Yeah, I got them for you.
Okay.
How do you think that both socks ended up at the crime scenes?
I think it was the same killer, and then he just tried to put one sock on each person, and that's it, and that's all.
Okay.
What do you think?
How I see it is that, I think that obviously, and I didn't get into this during the story, but Annette Schnee's mother confirmed that she gave those to her for Christmas that year.
Oh. That was a trick.
Yep. Well, I didn't mean to trick you.
To said other lady.
So here's my theory is that I think that Annette was definitely sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she had to take all her clothes off and she was probably held at gunpoint. Now, the really weird thing is that he made her take her socks off and her shoes. I guess I don't know much about, raping, but I would assume that you don't need the person to be completely naked. But I guess I don't know. Maybe he was not like a socks on kind of guy. He needed the socks off. I really don't know.
There's no way to joke about this kind of situation.
We've been joking about it the whole time. Now you're going to draw the line?
Yep.
Word. Well, anyways, I think that Annette was sexually assaulted.
Yep.
And then was told to pretty much get your shit back together at gunpoint. And she just grabbed stuff and
anyway.
She didn't put on one sock or found a random sock and put it on, put her shoes on the wrong foot, but her sock was left inside of his truck.
I also think it's crazy that they didn't tie the two because of that earlier.
Oh, they did. They almost immediately, as soon as they found Annette, made sure those cases were tied together.
These two are tied together, but it just blows my mind that it took until 20 for that shit to completely be solved.
Yeah. Well, that's one of and that's another one of the questions I have is how is this case there's a lot of fucking evidence here. You have DNA and you have cases that are specifically tied together and super specific methods and obviously it's the same person at two different scenes and I was just I don't know why this wasn't solved. I mean literally they had to do DNA to advanced DNA to be able to even, figure out how this was, who the killer was. And like, it's just, I mean,
like Breckenridge time. I'm like, oh yeah, Ski Town time. Like they didn't put like super effort in. Oh, it was a powder day, and that's a bad thing.
It was literally the next day was a powder day for sure. That's I'm honestly like pretty certain that's why like Jeff's buddies were like, oh, and we'll just like ski down. They were just like hoping to catch some like sick laps and get picked up at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
they didn't jump a body.
Right, no jibs, no
jibbing those bodies.
But yeah, so like I think that's how the two socks were found at different scenes. Is that
makes sense?
And then I think in the struggle. I think that Bobbi Jo was maybe attempted like sexual assault, but she fought Alan off, and through the struggle, somehow the sock fell out of the car.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. The other question I have is like, who the fuck, like, do you have any, you don't, but the mystery people in this case are super strange.
How would I have a clue?
Now we have the photo of this guy.
There's literally
who I can't tell at all who he is. Yep.
That's all you told me.
No, I did not say that she was hot.
You did too. No,
Annette was pretty hot.
Yeah, that's what you said. It's a long time.
No one has ever identified either of these people. However, I did find that there's another case that has never been tied to this, but took place in the same ish within a year of the Schnee and Oberholtzer murders, and that is the case of Teresa Sue Knuth or Knuth. You can tell me how to pronounce that because it starts with a K and an N.
It's a loud K, obviously. Knuth.
It's a loud K.
Yeah.
Knuth.
No, soft K. It's a loud K. Like Knuth.
Okay.
Man.
Word. Yeah. So anyways, Teresa Knuth was last seen August 24th, 1981 in just outside of Frisco. She was staying in like a retrofitted kind of bus with her boyfriend at the time.
Original van life.
Her boyfriend, Dwayne Owen, like actually admitted, again, another one of these, admitted to her murder, later to retract it like 5 or 6 years after he was already in prison for it.
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah.
Is he still in prison for it?
Some interesting things. So like she had no, I don't know a whole lot.
Dead.
These are just like small little things that I saw in this case. I think that he has since been released because I think that when he made the confession, he was being held but was not in prison. And then what description of the woman that was with Annette at the pharmacy, it said that it looked like she had been camping for several days, which would make sense with Teresa.
Yeah.
Having like literally like she was living in a van or living in a bus like outside of town, did not live in an actual apartment or a home or anything like that. And she has like a pretty significant resemblance to this mystery woman composite sketch that we have. And they're pretty solid. So yeah, I don't know. Really strange like coincidence there. I don't know if they're a little ways apart. You know, we're looking at August. Fast forward to January.
Yeah.
But an interesting thought either way. Specifically because this woman has neither the man in the photo or the woman that was seen at the pharmacy has ever shown up and has never weighed in or identified themselves. So we have these two mystery people. And I thought that was
like put them
just randomly came across that.
Like, why are they in the police like blotter or whatever they call it? Why are they like literally a thing? They're like, oh yeah, this random person also said something, but we never saw anything from this person ever again.
Well, I think that a lot of this just comes from police files.
Yeah.
This isn't stuff that they're necessarily releasing to the press. This stuff is, this case is like 40 years old. They have to report if they like, oh yeah, and like the pharmacist said that she saw someone with Annette there. That's something that needs to be noted.
And then there was a cat.
You never know. You never know what could make or break a case.
I drove to my house. Yeah, I get it. All right, what else?
So, I have personal questions on your thoughts on like this genealogy testing stuff
Why?
and like the impact of these kinds of cases.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm just curious, like what your thoughts are. I like as a super paranoid person, I
Mhm.
think that like this genealogy testing thing like scares the shit out of me. Not
Why?
because I'm a criminal,
Because-
obviously.
because
I'm
it-
super
'cause-
not a criminal. I've never done anything.
I'm not a crook.
I'm not a criminal.
Why? Because they found it in a Sonic dumpster. And that scares you?
No, but like if you look at like where like, you know, how these things like if you can just like when do people start like placing evidence knowing that these things will be genealogy tested? And all of a sudden we're,
Good point.
you know, 5-10 years down the road and like, oh yeah, Jamie, this straw was found of yours at this crime scene that occurred 10 years ago. And you're like, what the fuck? Like I've literally never been to Asheville.
That's where I live right now. God damn it. I personally think that murderers are too busy trying to A, murder, B,
Yeah.
like completely hide the body and cover it up. So it'll be a little bit before they're like, also, I need to figure out how to plant someone else's shit.
Yeah, but if they're aware now, like
Yeah.
I would say that there's like not two classes of murderers, but like there's kind of like two classes of murderers. There's like the ones that are doing dumb shit, which like somehow I'm gonna place Alan Lee Phillips in this, whereas like he was a dipshit and a dumb shit. He just like figured out how not to get caught for fucking 40 years. But then you have people that
There's like no, like he didn't explain it or why. He was like, we have no reason
Nothing.
or understanding
nope died
why this dude was
died
like,
with
I'm gonna
everything that he
kill
knew.
these two chicks. Bam, bam. Yeah.
We don't know
exactly.
if he ever did it again. There's certainly possibilities. Like, you know, you look at the Colorado cold crime or the cold case files, and there's thousands of them. Like any one of those could have been him as well. But this is what we have him on. And like, so my thought is just like but then you have like killers that are like extremely methodical and like, you know, aware of what they're doing.
Mhm.
They're like the real like scary ones, and like they
All
are
of them
thinking
are
of
kinda
these
scary,
things.
but, like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, 100%. Like the Zodiac killer, they're talking about someone that's never
Yeah.
been solved or probably never will be solved.
Never will be solved.
Yeah.
Because anyone that like I think we'll like that kind of case, like in my opinion, passed like 10 years ago because most of those people are now dead. Anyone that
like,
could be a
was,
witness.
like putting any effort in. Yeah, no, that was like the 70s. There's
Well, but like even still, like there's plenty of
what
people
was
that
it?
would put
Was
energy
it
into
the,
solving
was
it.
it the 70s? I felt stupid to say that, but I'm pretty sure.
No, it's the 60s.
The 60s or 70s. Anyway,
I think it's early 60s for the most part. But you know what I mean? Like eventually like you kind of run out of resources where like you're not going to find more evidence and you're not going to find more witnesses and you're not going to do this because those people are dying.
it was 1968 to 19. I was 8 years in the 60s, late 60s.
Yeah, I was wrong.
No, you're right. I was wrong. I said
Well, I
70s.
said 60s, but I said early 60s. So
I said
But anyways-
70s. So damn near.
I think that the only way that some of those cold cases get solved is like through this genealogy testing. But I think that like there is a limit to it, and like the way that they're doing it right now is fair. Like you can't just arrest someone because the genealogy says it. You gotta like tie them to it,
Well,
and that's
if you
what
give the DNA, like
you need the DNA for sure. But like just like with this case, like when Wendy Kipple has her match, or like you know the genealogy narrows it down to Alan Lee Phillips, she's still not just make sure that it's him by getting his exact DNA and it's an exact match, but also, you know, she's going through, she sees that like, wow, he has, you know, a record
the
where
reason why
he's
they
done
were,
this
like,
type of stuff before.
they were trying to go through, trying to find his Sonic bag. Like
Yeah.
they're not just like
And, like,
searching for every single person.
Same thing with the Golden State Killer. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they had like, you know, all this corroborating evidence.
Mhm.
Once they had the name and knew who to focus on, they could actually make a timeline and figure out where it goes. But
yeah.
does that, when we start to see those things happen in a different way, they're like, oh yeah, we found this person's DNA at the scene, so we arrested them and now they're in jail forever because we found this DNA. I think that like changes things a little bit. So I was just curious,
Yeah. No, I get it.
we're going to run into a lot more of these in the cases that we
Yeah, I
cover.
think
But
we
I
just
was just
gotta-
curious what your
we
thoughts
gotta
were on the
wrap this one
genealogy
up.
testing.
Wrap this one up and start on.
Oh, yeah, for
another
sure.
one. We're
Yep.
damn near 2 hours into talking.
Yep.
So,
Alrighty, bud.
you have anything else?
We'll
for me?
catch you later.
No. I'm
No,
just
I
gonna
think we'll jump
say-
into the closing on this.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for listening, every one of you. You know where to find us. You can find us on Instagram, on Drunk and Demonic,
And
and
demonic.
you can find us on YouTube, or YouTube, not
YouTube.
Drunk and
YouTube.
Demonic with A-N-D, not the N, and then eventually we'll probably do something.
You can find me on YouTube.
You can definitely find Peter on the YouTube. That's when he's sent to bed all mad.
Find me.
I guess I'm U-tagging again. In closing.
All right, I
What
think
are we
we'll.
doing
I think
what are
we'll
we
cut
doing
to
next
the.
week?
I think we'll
What are we
cut to
doing?
the.
Where
Oh,
are we
are we
going?
doing this? Oh, I thought we were gonna just drop it in and then
You want
then
to
have our close
We
so
can
we can
drop
go into the next
whatever we want.
episodes. I'd say that
See
we
ya.
just drop it into the episode later, nerds.
see ya. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for another episode. Always remember, when in doubt, drink down those
Drink
demons.
down those demons.